Hi guys. Okay, so this video is going to be about shadow work. What is shadow? Why does everyone talk about it? Why is it such a big, important part of healing? Sounds cheesy, sounds like a trend. Actually, it's people living with split personalities and being called crazy, and people thinking shadows are true selves, but people see it as a psychosis. But I'm just going to dig really deep into what shadow is right now, okay? So shadow is your subconscious, and we need to, everything we reject, everything everyone else has rejected about us as a little kid is in there. As children, we are told our emotions are stupid and annoying. Shut up, quit yelling, like stuff like this all the time. I don't care if you want to play, go, like I'm busy, you know? We are confused. We're not emotionally developed. We need adults who can, we all need adults. Our children nowadays are still neglected at home, told to get out of the way, you know? So as adults, we get out of the way. As adults, if it's bad enough, if there's been enough shoving down and suppressing and putting in the back of the bus and throwing in the dump, you know, we start to live in shadow. We start to become angry. We start to become resentful. We judge, we criticize, because that's what someone did to us, and we cannot stand seeing other people live their authentic selves. People who are nourished, it's like, she's so fake, her fake positivity, I can't stand it. But it takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to show love. It takes a lot to be authentic about it and be honest and not toxic. You know, because there are people who want to manifest happiness and they want other people to feel good, but then they're sitting at home talking shit about people who hurt them. But spreading love on social media and showing their perfect lives and how beautiful they are. Do you understand how like the shadow works and what it does to us? It can make us secretly ugly people, and it's dangerous. It can harm meaningful relationships. People who are empathetic and read energy, we can feel this. I know this for a fact because I always wondered, why is everyone acting so funny around me back when I was toxic, right? And manipulative. And as I progress in healing, as I'm being handed lessons, I ask why and it's handed to me. You guys have the same thing happen to you. You ask why a certain situation is happening, or you complain about certain people's situations. It's handed to you. Everything is a mirror. Everything is to be used as a teacher. We are not given annoying people or shitty situations over and over and over to wallow about it. We are given these situations because our subconscious is like, hey, we want to get this out. You need to address that. You fear this. You need to address this embarrasses you. And it's like we're busy making fun of people who embody something we feel shame about, right? And we might not even remember this. This is the thing. So the subconscious is called shadow because we can't see it. We don't operate from it. We operate from the conscious mind. We need to see, we need to be able to like resonate with it, and we focus on others, right? The reason we suppress everything is because we had adults around us who made us please them. Does that make sense? That's why we feel shame when we want to please ourselves. When we need to cry, nope, I'm a bad bitch. Let's go out for drinks. I just had a breakup. And then all of a sudden, you're texting your ex how much you hate them, and you're getting mad at people when you're drunk. That's your subconscious coming out and saying, I'm not ready to let this go. You were invalidated for many, many, many years. And it's confusing that this still lingers even though you forgot about it. I'm done. I don't think about it. I don't know why it pops up when I'm drunk, guys. Sorry. Your subconscious didn't forget. You are basically like within two personalities. There's yin and there's yang. There's light and there's dark. There's you, and then there's a little you. The little you is still holding on to a lot of things. Meditations with inner child healing will help you with this. It'll bring out everything, but people who do this work, they expect it to be done. Okay, we did a meditation, we're healed. This is actually going to be a process for the rest of your life. You're going to be handed situations over and over again until you see that this trigger, these projections, these patterns, they're all yours. These are your life modules to work on. Does that make sense? Like these things that irritate you, it's time to stop pointing the finger and sit back and be like, all right, this really gets under my bones. Skin, this gets in my bones. You know what I mean. I always say stupid. Let's go. Okay. So this gets under my skin. And I'm tired of it getting under my skin. I'm tired of giving my power away. I'm tired of focusing on other people. What do I need to do? The reason I'm doing this video is because one of my dear friends, she messaged me, she's like, how do I do this? I'm sick of being irritated. And that's the thing, a lot of women that have been compromised, shut down, and told to behave and be a good girl, they're passive aggressive. I know I was like side-eyeing, making comments, secretly getting annoyed with someone's actions and vulnerability or victimizing self, stuff like this, you know? We turn passive aggressive. And for men have a hard time not being the class clown or being that wild motherfucker, you know, who just does stupid shit, wild shit all the time. Because they probably had a parent who said, stop being a little bitch, quit crying, shut up, you be a man, you know? He's 5 years old and he's a sensitive little guy, he needs a hug, you know? Oh, why did I want to cry? Do one of you feel like this, masculine out there? Okay, so that made me want to cry. Let's get that out. These are all subconscious things. We need to acknowledge this. Like, why do I run as soon as someone tells me they love me? Why do I run as soon as a situation brings up emotions? Why do I not want to address this if it's negative? Why am I telling someone they're the problem when the problem resides within me most likely and it needs to come up, it needs to go? Running away and drinking it, smoking it, sniffing it, it's gonna do nothing for you. You are repressing everything even more, and it's getting worse. You're gonna create a bigger addiction to something. Who knows? Porn. Feeling like, okay, so something that just popped in my head, feeling ashamed about someone loving their body, feeling ashamed of someone thinking they're beautiful. Did someone shame you about your body? Like you thought you were pretty when you were little, or you like looked in the mirror a little too much and someone came by and told you to stop being a fucking weirdo? You right there, you were told you're not pretty, stop it. That's what your subconscious heard, and you agreed with it when you listened to them. Does this make sense? Okay. I hope that went deep enough into like how the shadow grows. Like the shadow grows the more you forget about things. You know what I mean? Eventually we kind of just end up living in our shadow. We think we're naturally passive aggressive, or we naturally think we're critical beings, stuff like that, right? Our childhood, our teenagehood, everything, we're learning. We built up our egos so strong, and it turned on our shadow. Everything, right? It kept us alive for a long time. But now the shadow wants to come out and the shadow wants to heal. The shadow is sick of being in pain and being forgotten about. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, let's see. I have a few notes here. Okay. The subconscious holds everything we reject, all right? So when it's considered unacceptable, we repress, we ignore, we deny. We deny what we're actually feeling because it makes other people uncomfortable. And if it doesn't make them uncomfortable, we were groomed to think that it's uncomfortable and it's shameful. This is just becomes a natural pattern, you know? No one's completely perfect. No one is. We are supposed to be naturally vulnerable beings. Sorry, someone's talking. She has her headphones on, so she doesn't realize how loud. Okay, so denying something doesn't make it disappear. It never disappears when you deny it. It just gets put aside with a little post-it. And eventually you're gonna have post-its all over the wall. Where do you even begin, right? Like, this is what it's starting to feel like for people. It's like, holy shit, I put so many things aside. Where do I start? Okay. This is gonna haunt you forever. It's like you're walking into your office and one day, all of a sudden, post-its all over your desk. So it's like someone pulled a prank. It was you that pulled a prank on you, you know? Now you have to clean this up and organize. Okay. It affects us forever. It could come out in a multitude of ways, and when you are ready to heal it, or even if you're still ignorant but you keep asking yourself, why do I feel this way? I don't like feeling this way. You're gonna be shown in everyone around you, situations, people stealing from you, stuff like this. Like, that's a deep one that I have to go into. It's not that you manifested that by being a thief or anything. It's just someone made you feel guilty for, okay, let's explain this. I don't know why I want to get into this one. People constantly scamming and stealing. You have no backbone. Your parents took something from you. Your friends took something from you. Your older sister constantly taking your clothes. Your brother constantly stealing your weed, something, right? Money always going missing. Finally, you just suppressed it and you said, fuck it, it's theirs too. And now you have people constantly taking shit from you. This could also have to do with vulnerability as a child, someone taking your vulnerability and your innocence. Now, people just constantly jacking things off of you. Your time, your energy, and you don't stand up for yourself. That's a hard thing to get rid of, but instead of saying, oh my God, I'm so sick of people doing this to me, just say, hey, I'm not standing up for myself here. And this situation makes me uncomfortable. I'm gonna start standing up for myself. And I'm gonna stop letting certain people in my life that I know are stealing from me but will never admit it. This is a really deep one. When you start respecting yourself and seeing who you are and seeing your situations, that's when you start to see progress. It takes a long time to get there, and it takes a long time to connect the dots. Like, it's really hard to say, well, shit, why am I always meeting really ignorant bitches? It's because you probably met this energy before, and now, or you've behaved this way, either one. Ignorance is bliss. To live in ignorance, you don't have to face anything. There's no accountability. Think about that. Get a little notepad, write these down, and even Google. I use Google. Like, what is this emotion connected to? How come I manifested this? I was manipulative, and it's because I never got what I wanted when I was a little girl. But I noticed if I manipulated my teachers and other adults around me, if I lied a little bit, they gave me attention, right? And this will manifest in a multitude of ways. You'll meet manipulative people throughout your life because you suppressed this. You lived in survivor mode probably up until now. You probably still do. I know sometimes I'm still in survivor mode, and I have to really spend that day away from people working on it. Or else, if you feel the courage to, go out and test it. Don't give your power away. I say give your power away because sometimes people get joy out of you behaving this way. People sometimes thrive off of milking shadows. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That's a really deeply disturbed person though. Okay, let's keep going. The shadow is not negative and dark. It's just painful and it's ashamed of himself. You're ashamed of it, right? So we feel embarrassed about the shadow, fear of letting out what was repressed due to shame. Like, there's no other way to go about it. But actually your shadow, when you embrace it, it's poetic. You start feeling connected to yourself and loving yourself a little more. You're tender. When you show more compassion, also, like, we're going to go further into this, but showing compassion for yourself, eventually you start showing compassion for people that are triggering you. You see how they're living in their misery. You see how they're like walking around throwing judgment, hate, and everything, and it's like, fuck, that's a lot of pain, man. Like, when you can see yourself, you can see others. Does that make sense? This is what I'm talking about. Life is your teacher. Children are your gurus. Let them being emotional show you that maybe you need to embrace your emotions. Don't get irritated with children who are not having a good day and they don't know how to tell you. They don't know where these feelings are coming from. Someone may have dismissed them in school. Their teacher's a dickhead and doesn't appreciate the things they do for them. This child is asking for validation and comfort, and we're telling them to shut the fuck up. Does that make sense? Telling a child they're a pig for eating more than one chip at a time, they really like that chip, and it's so yummy. Don't tell them they're a pig. You know what I mean? Someone should have did this for us. You. Someone should have really nurtured you. Someone should have took better care of you, but they couldn't. Because no one took care of them. Do you see how it's all a cycle? Oh, I'm gonna cry, you guys. We gotta get out of this. I'm gonna cry. Okay. Woo. Woo. Okay. So, okay, let's talk about the passive-aggressive thing. This girl, she's born spicy. She's a spicy little tamale lady, you know what I mean? She's 5, she's got sass, she knows what she wants, she'll tell you what you want, you know? But she has a modest family who is suppressed again. You're too much. You're too loud. Quit, you're embarrassing me. Eventually, they're quiet. Oh, what does that say? Sometimes my writing is so bad. I have handwrite, like cursive and chicken scratch, so it just makes no sense. So they're obedient, but you know what? They're living in pain. So it becomes passive aggressive and snotty. Little remarks, things under the breath, because they were told, shut the hell up, you're too much. But really, they're probably actually really intelligent, and they can utilize this confidence for others. When you're given confidence as a child and someone wants to take it from you, that's the worst thing you can do, right? She probably also manifests girls who are outrageously outspoken and gets bullied by them. Does that make sense? And then she just grows resentment towards people who have opinions and stuff and lives a meek life to impress others. And then when she gets drunk, she just changes. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. So we view society rejection as death. Shameful. My tribe does. Okay, so right here I wrote it. Except, where did I write it here? Did I write it on a different page? Being ashamed. Actually, I put it on my iPad. Let me open it up. Because there was a good quote that I seen and I really wanted to share it with you guys. Oh, I'm going to talk about how the feelings in your body come up too when you do this. Okay, so without our tribe, we feel not supported, not cared for, a weak, vulnerable. May as well be at death's door. This is embarrassing. I don't usually act like this. This is embarrassing. I'm out of character. Do you hear that? I'm out of character because you have feelings. It's really weird that people have held you up to that standard, isn't it? Start thinking about it this way. How come this disturbs people when I speak my truth? How come it disturbs people when I'm in pain and I need comfort? How come no one wants to talk to me when I'm sad? Because they were taught the same things as you. Remember back then when you used to think it was awkward for people to like be like this? It's just a cycle. And the more people show that we need to be vulnerable and kind and compassionate and honest, be authentic, it's hard for people to accept this. Nope, I'm perfect, I'm privileged, and I don't want anyone else to see anything else. I'm not mocking them. That's literally what the conscious mind is saying. That's the voice inside their head that they were told as a little child over and over and over and over. Okay? We're going to get into shadow work very soon, but I just want to explain to you guys how deep down this goes. Have you ever like seen... I know you have. Okay, let's get into this. So have you ever seen someone meek, shy, obedient, or else just like super fun, high vibing, but then something happens, someone does something and they snap and you see a different person, everyone's energy changes, we're all pulling back. This is their subconscious. They're not a psychopath. This really bothers them because someone knocked it into their noggin and their soul and their subconscious that that's stupid, you know? Someone might have yelled at them as a child about this too. Someone just completely rejected them. Even as a teenager, this can happen. Like right up until you're like 25, 26. 27 is when you're like falling apart because of all the things. 27 is usually when the dark night of the soul hits. I want to talk about dark night of the soul, but that's for another video. That's a really big topic. Okay, so it comes in like all these things, all these shadows, everything. It starts to come in as projections, like you're projecting on people. Like I said, you notice things in people that you are ashamed of within yourself. Think about it. Get a notebook. This is how you do it. Get a notebook and write down throughout the day, or just text yourself if you're out and be like, hey, this pissed me off, we'll talk about it later. You need to start having conversations with yourself, because that's the only person that can help you when it comes to healing. You are your healer. You can't get a therapist to do it for you. They're just going to keep you talking about these things, and they have issues too. Sometimes you might notice that these people, they want you to only look at yourself and not the things you were handed as a child, right? I notice there are therapists who are kind of getting into this, but they really don't go deep down into where it is. Like, I hope one day they do so that it can actually do something, but people are like, I'm taking my pills, I'm going to therapy, how come it's still bothering me? You are your healer, nobody else. You have to do this. And when you actually believe in yourself, because after so many years of being told everything you think and do is like silly and you need help. No, you are your help. You are your greatest teacher. You are the greatest student. It's okay to be vulnerable in this situation. I know it's awkward. I know like you were told over and over that this is stupid. Why do you still think about it? Why do you still act this way? Now you know why, okay? Shadow can turn your life upside down. You can ruin friendships. You can ruin families. It's wild when you start to see what falls apart when you don't heal yourself, right? And while things are falling apart, you're blaming other people. They're the problem. And it's conflicting. Because as you like, that's projection. I just want to tell you guys, that's an example of projection. Someone doesn't hear you, someone doesn't see you, and it pisses you off and you push them away. It's because you don't hear yourself and you don't see yourself. You don't see what you need to do to get better. And this person has no obligation to do that for you. They're just put right here for you to start looking. Okay? What about this person makes you feel insecure? What about them makes you feel embarrassed? What pisses you off? Is it, or do they feel mediocre? Why? What about them makes feels mediocre, right? Their vengeance, it pisses you off. Why? Did someone do this to you, or did you act out this way at some point? Do you do this? Do you leave the situation after being silent, not saying anything, and then talk about them and take action behind their back? Think about this. If someone's being two-faced and it just absolutely pisses you off and you go talk about them being two-faced, can you look at that for a second? I did this so much to the point where, like, I just naturally do it throughout the day. You notice someone making little comments about people out in public and you're like, I don't like your energy. But you just did it. Does that make sense? Who did this to you? Ask yourself, what energy did this to me? Why do I think this way? Why do I act this way? I don't want to. Who did this? Right? It's okay to talk about it being someone you dearly love. It's okay if it's devastating that it's the people you thought loved you. They don't know they do this, and there's no reason to go out and blame them. Have compassion, because they were suppressed too and they can't see it. These people are probably like double our age and they still behave this way, and it's going to take them a longer time to heal because they're double our age. They got double the bullshit. And there was no filters back in their day. There was probably physical abuse too, like beatings, you know? Like a physically abusive person beat on by someone. Now they think spankings are, and smacking their kid in the face when they're pissed or in the back of the head, they think that that's okay because it was done to them. But they're breaking a spirit. Like yours is broken. Does this make sense? This is a pretty heavy video. I gotta put a trigger warning. Okay. And someone expressing their religion. We see so much of this. We see so many people shaming other people for believing in something stupid. Someone passionately enjoying something like... I'll show you an example. I used to shame witches a lot. I'd be like, I hate being called a witch. No, it's fucking fake shit, you know? In my, like, I can't stand being called a witch, and it's a trigger for me. It's because I'm being accused of doing harm to people. And, you know, I'm still working on it. I don't understand why it pisses me off so much. I think it's just being labeled. But then, you know what's crazy? I'm calling people witches and losers. It's because people shamed me for embracing this situation, embracing my spirit, embracing my gifts. I'm being shamed constantly for it. My visions, I'm called a fraud, a con. Constantly, people would inbox me when I first started, you're a fucking loser, you're a fraud. And it just pissed me off. So now when I see other girls being like, I'm a witch, they're probably pretty stoked. And for me to shame them for feeling confident in that, it's none of my business. And it's not up to me to break a spirit. That's why I just tell people, just don't call me that. Like, I don't feel comfortable labeling myself. I like being me. That's how I made peace with it. I accept that these people really enjoy this, and it's probably therapeutic for them. It probably heals them, if anything. We gotta start having compassion for other people's paths. That's a little piece of my shadow work I wanted to show you guys. Because those are projections. People making fun of me for discovering that I'm a medium. I can see the future. I can read people's souls right down to the core. It freaks them out. No one wants to be read. No one wants to be seen because no one ever told them that being vulnerable is okay. And plus they have a lot of secrets they have to keep that they're ashamed of. You know? Like, this is the subconscious projecting. Okay, so repeating patterns, as I said, like, you are given exactly what you should heal. No one is given to you to gossip about. We're given people to learn to cohabitate and speak our truths and be authentic and embrace, okay? We're supposed to heal all these things that are pissing us off, and we're just making fun of them. Little do we know, we're making fun of the pieces of us that we have lived out once. Does that make sense? Like, I hope this is making sense to you guys. Okay. So watch your emotional reactions. Irritation, disgust, fear, embarrassment, insecurity. This one right here, unserving beliefs, like I just talked about. I don't believe in that. It's fucking stupid. Do you need to express that? Why do you need to express that? Why do you want to talk about it like that way? You know, get a journal. This will really help you. You know, when you start to flow with this, all of a sudden you're going to start writing a lot because your subconscious has so much to say. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks on notebooks. And then they have notebooks. You know, like, it's never going to stop. Your intuition comes alive. You're creative. You're alive again. Embrace it. Okay? Okay, so body reactions. That's what I wanted to talk about. I have it saved on my iPad. Hang on, I'm just going to grab my notes here. Okay. So, heat, shaking, chills, pain, uncomfortable, queasy stomach. Notice these. These are triggers, okay? If you're so disconnected from your emotions and you don't know what they are, but you're feeling something, I'm going to tell you what they are. Give me one. Okay, I'm shaking. It's a sign you're identifying and processing a trauma and shadow. Someone yelling, like across the street at a little girl, you're shaking and you wanna go confront them, but you can't. You're shaking. No one can confront. They're all shaking. They're all watching this happen because it happened to us. And anyone who confronts that person yelling at the child is gonna get shit on too. And this child's gonna see, so I'm just gonna tell you the cycle of how it works, and this child's gonna see no one can save her. She can't speak up, she can't ask for help, no one's gonna save her. So you just shut the fuck up as you get older, and it turns into this. It turns into living in fear, and you don't even know it. You just think you're a good girl, and you never have drama because you thought standing up for yourself meant hurting yourself and others. You don't want anyone to get hurt, okay? You have no boundaries. That's what you're feeling when you see these things. Okay, so that was kind of really, really deep shadow work right there. It just kind of showed you 3 different situations in one, you know, 3 different energies in one. So I hope that helped you right there. That was really deep, okay? Okay, so feeling like I'm flawed, I'm broken, I'm depressed. You're stronger as a result. You can continue to overcome. Neuroplasticity is real and new wiring is possible. When you say, hey, yes, I'm a little bit broken, but I'm going to love myself until I'm complete again. There's parts of me that have been broken down by other people, but I'm going to take my power back and I'm going to start nurturing it. You can reprogram yourself. You can reprogram everything. There's some cells that were killed and gone and dead, but you can reprogram them. You can fix your energy completely, your mindset, the way you think. This can all change with shadow work. Eventually, you're not going to need pills. Eventually, you're not going to need to vent to anyone who just has something little to say. Eventually, you're not going to need to be critical. You're not going to feel the need to be critical. I watch my videos and sometimes I skip words and it doesn't make sense. So excuse Miss ADD coming out. I skip words because I say them in my head, like I'm talking in my head at the same time and talking out loud, so I skip them, but I said it in here and I heard it, okay? It's good enough. Okay, so anxiety. Anxious. I didn't make it really clear on these notes. It says, okay, this is a good sign of what to work on. Something makes you anxious, it's ready to be released. Your fear of being out in public, fainting in public, why? Because someone shamed you as a little girl? I feel like someone shamed you as a little boy too. anxiety about being around people, anxiety of calling strangers and booking a dentist appointment, anxiety about going by yourself to the dentist. Someone made you feel like you couldn't do things on your own. Someone made you feel like you are incapable and you need them. You need some kind of stability because you're so shaky. Confrontation always got you shit on. Do you see what I mean about the shaking with the little girl? Confrontation, being alone, it made you scared, right? There's a multitude of things with that. I just hit one little area of the shadow, okay? Not feeling smart enough. Change that, okay? Like, no one is a total genius. Sure, there are people out there who are rocket scientists and who are well educated on COVID, but do they have emotional intelligence? Do they know how to get a vehicle going? Can they paint a beautiful, beautiful canvas and sell it for $1,000? I don't think so. Everyone has a different destiny. Quit comparing yourself to those people. If you had siblings, you might have been compared. Why can't you be like her? She just fucking chill. Like, be like your sister. Why are you so hard to deal with? You were shut down because you weren't like someone else. But you don't eat shit and sleep like your sister. You're not there to hold her hand with everything. You're not conjoined twins. You know what I mean? Change the way you see things. Have more compassion for yourself. See yourself, feel yourself. And that's how you're going to heal it, okay? Instead of saying, like, I'm fat, I can't lose weight, it's like, someone told you this when you were little, but then they kept feeding you or something. Or someone shut you down and they just gave you food, snacks. Hey, no, I don't have time for this. Are you cranky? Here's some food, okay? Why do you feel that way? Think about it. There's a multitude of things. If you guys have questions, if you feel like you really don't know where this feeling comes from, you can comment or email me. I have all my links in the description box. I can help you with shadow work, and it's like no charge or anything. You just need a seed sometimes. Sometimes that one little, someone watering your garden, or you just have someone visit and water every now and then, and it's a catalyst to your journey, right? So, saying, believing that bad things are going to happen to you all the time, worrying about this stuff, it comes with shadow work. So you had this embedded in you. What are you without worry? Could things go right? Could, like, you have a good day if you didn't think about bad things happening? Probably. But you had someone around you. You possibly heard this all day long from someone, teachers, anything. How shitty life is. How being an adult is so shitty. Bad things always happen. Get rid of that conditioning. It's just a multitude of things. I'm going really surface right now. If you feel ashamed, why? Why do you feel ashamed? Why do you not want to be seen? What's going on there? Stop the self-judgment, because then you manifest that into judging others. Judging others is easier than realizing you're like really ashamed of yourself, and the things that they're exuding are things that you've suppressed and you can't face yet. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope so. To this degree, we're condemning others. You know, we're trying to shit on others unintentionally. We think that this is just the way it is and we have to act right. We're condemning others. Church, like, religions are really bad for this. Shaming gay people, racism, finding evil in people is shame. There's no way around it. To blame others for pissing you off is making sure nobody sees how insecure you are or how incompetent you think you are. Shift blaming, it's really manipulative. Read about it. We don't mean to be this way, and accepting yourself is hard. Seeing yourself is hard. We're never taught to see self. We're taught to focus on making everyone else happy. And that just brings in bullshit for us. It brings in conflict, mental conflict. It brings in more issues in our life because we're pushing things away. We don't want to face it. That's not our problem. But really, this is something that sits in you, and it's going to sit there until you show yourself some love. I hope this video makes sense, because me, it's naturally there. Like, I naturally do this already. It took a long time. But yeah, disassociation from self can lead to passive aggressiveness, running from relationships, blaming people, making fun of people, right? Being called crazy. You're living two personalities. One, when your shadow can't handle it and can't tolerate anything. Zero tolerance for others is zero tolerance for yourself. Okay? A lot of people fake it to make it. That toxic positivity is not going to get you anywhere. It really isn't. Life is a teacher. Start seeing these people who irritate you as a teacher. What about them makes me irritated? Why do I think they're incompetent? Why do I think they're dramatic? Why do I think they're victimizing themselves? Who did this to me? Who put this in my head? Who made me feel like these people are losers? Sometimes it's your own mom who actually loves you every day. She probably did the healing. If your father, your brother, these people probably healed enough. You don't see it in them anymore, or else it still lingers in them, or else they're heavy in it and they're losing themselves to addictions. They're in bed all day. There's different levels for everyone. Some people don't see these paths. Some people do. Some people wake up really early at like 19 and they're grown. To shame people and say they're jealous beings, they're condescending, what about them makes you feel this way, right? Yeah, pay attention. Watch the way someone triggers you. Don't act out on it. Don't state an opinion. Stop condemning others. Stop telling people to stay in their lane when they say things out loud. I know it's hard to not be embarrassed. It's hard to admit that you're embarrassed of yourself, and other people finding confidence and truth seems like they look arrogant at first. And then you realize, hey, okay, it's none of my business. How they are is not my responsibility, but I'm going to start looking at myself and why I can't take responsibility for how I react, right? These situations are just going to keep being recycled. I hope that this was enough information, because we're at like 45 minutes, guys. And like if just remember, if something makes you feel stupid and you're like, fuck, how stupid. No, I'm not stupid. I just wasn't aware enough. And I didn't see all the points of view. I'm not stupid. I'm still learning. You could be 50 and saying this, and that's okay. That person really just broke my spirit. Not really, you kind of did it to yourself. But what about it made you feel broken? That anger, it's waking something up inside of me. What they said about me, it woke something up inside. I'm ashamed of what I did. And they're making fun of me for it. They're living in my past. They're keeping who I was alive. They're an issue. But really, you not facing your past is an issue. People are going to keep bringing this stuff up until you face it. This is the universe speaking to you through other people. Does that make sense? And it's not me shaming you. The reason I'm saying all this stuff so confidently is because that's when the shame stopped. That's when the wallowing stopped. That's when I stopped meeting narcissistic people, manipulators, victimized people, people who used me, scammed me. That's when I stopped using people. That's when I stopped manipulating people. Is when I looked at myself and asked, what am I doing? What's inside of me right now that keeps pulling all this in? I'm a magnet for this. The things you attract in your life are the things you are. The things you need to heal. I shouldn't say you are. The things you need to heal. You're pulling this in. Okay? And something that people really need to stop doing is saying, look at yourself when you talk about me like that. They're not doing that because they can't look at themselves. If someone's telling you to look within self and stop projecting, look at what they're doing. They're projecting instead of listening to you and hearing you and having a conversation. This is gonna be a cycle for you. You're gonna meet people as you start doing this stuff. You're gonna meet people who want to blame you, and that's okay. Let them go. Let them go. Let it go. Start showing yourself love, please. You really need it because it's hurting you, and you've gotten to this point where you can't handle it anymore, and it feels like you're hitting a dark point. And you're starting to resent yourself a little bit. Does this make sense? I hope it does. Remember, if you guys need to ask a question, all my links to my social media and email and stuff are in my About Me box. Go ahead and ask a question. Be like, what feeling is this? You can Google it. I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to do that. But if you need some help, I'm right here. Okay? Bye, guys.